So it's been a while, obviously, and I don't feel like going through the where have you been? Like, I've been doing my own thing. I have 2 jobs, and I have other stuff to do than talk about movies all day, ironically enough. This is the guy who runs a YouTube channel about movies. But I wanted to check in, and there's 2 things I wanted to do tonight. I wanted to run through, and again, I despise haul videos. I hate them so much, but I wanted to run through a fresh fish video, a catch of the day, because I went a little crazy at work today and bought some movies. And then I wanted to run through and do another video after this talking to you about what the Criterion Collection is and like how you can get started on the Criterion Collection, because it is Barnes & Noble's 50% off sale. Please excuse the cat. There's a cat hanging around. But there is Barnes & Noble does their 50% off sale in November and July for Criterion movies. And if you really love cinema or you're interested in getting into like more exotic forms of cinema, Criterion Collection is definitely the place to go. So we'll do that in a second. But like first, let's get through what I picked up today at my job, because I just hadn't picked up a bunch of movies lately. So to start with, I got this nice little box set of William Castle collection, and I own 2,400 movies, and I don't know who William Castle is, but I do know the remake of the movie 13 Ghosts, and I did not know it was a remake. So it's like, let's pick this up. This looks like a bunch of bunch of just campy horror, and it looked really, really good. And this comes with 6 movies. It comes with a movie called Straight Jacket, Homicidal, Mr. Sardonicus, 13 Frightened Girls, 13 Ghosts, and then if you read that right, that's only 5. So it comes with a 6 double feature of Berserk, or bonus film of Berserk, which is on a double feature with Straight Jacket. So these look like very interesting late night, midnight movies that came out in the 60s, circa like Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock, and like those old drive-in movies. So these are very, very interesting, and I'm very excited to get started on this, which is probably going to be in like a year, because I buy stuff really excited. It sits on a shelf, and I don't get around to it for a while. Moving on, it's Jules et Jim, American Jules and Jim, which does not have the same feel or flavor as Jules et Jim, but it's a film directed by the famous French director, and I'm going to butcher this, Francois Truffaut. I don't speak French, and I apologize. But he was very famous in the French New Wave, which started in the late 50s in France. It was one of the first sort of post-World War II era New Waves. There was Italian New Realism, French New Wave, and then we got into like sort of American rock and roll cinema with Spielberg, Lucas, Scorsese, and Coppola, but it started like in France and Italy, and we'll get into that in my next video with Criterion. But usually you can only find this film on the Criterion Collection now. But I found it today at my work for like $5. Couldn't pass it up because I love French cinema. I love French New Wave. So I couldn't pass it up. Had to grab it. Haven't watched it. Once again, it'll probably be like 3 years before I get to it. Who knows? But when I do, I'm going to post a review of that. Up next, some more horror, but this is just Boris Karloff. Very famous. You probably know him as Frankenstein. I think he did pick up Dracula in one of the old Universal films from after Bela Lugosi retired. And this is 5 of his lesser known films. We've got Night Key, Tower of London, The Climax, The Strange Door, and ending with The Black Castle in 1952. Probably all very slow and campy, and I'm very interested that they didn't put the movie The Terror in this film, in this collection, because he did that with Jack Nicholson, and they did that in the 60s. So I'm a little surprised that something a little more famous with someone a little more well-known, not than him, but as a well-known co-star, was not put into this, but that's okay. Interested to get into this, and we'll see how that goes. Finally, and speaking of the Criterion Collection, so this will be a good segue, I've got 2 Guillermo del Toro films. Guillermo del Toro, you may have known him from Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, but this was his first film, Kronos, and then in 2001 he did Devil's Backbone. Now these are in the Criterion Collection. This is their new design for their movies, and they're both Spanish films with English subtitles, and this one I think you can watch it in English, but usually Criterion, if they do a foreign film, you have to watch it with subtitles. This one I believe is about vampires, and this one I'm not sure what it's about. I read the back of the case, but I wasn't quite sure. So these ones I will be watching very, very soon. because I love him as a director. I loved what he did with Hellboy, and I absolutely really loved Pan's Labyrinth. And there's sort of like a weird trilogy he did with these two movies ending with Pan's Labyrinth. So that's what I picked up today, and most of them, a lot of it's foreign, a lot of it's old, but we'll see what those are when I get into them. And of course, I'll be posting reviews on here. We're going to be trying to do it a little more regularly than we have been. Life's been really busy, and I go back to school next semester, but we'll see what we can do. Until then, please remember, like, subscribe, and finally, and she just had an album come out this summer, so I just want to make it perfectly clear to everybody who's watching this, Taylor Swift does not care about you.